Yeah, so today we're here to talk about the leadership outlook, and we're here with some of the leading agency CEOs with us. But before we start the conversation, I wanted to before we look at the outlook, before we look at the future, my thinking was that let's look backwards, and let's not go very far in time, but let's just go as far as 4 years ago when COVID hit. And the fact is that you can basically divide the out-of-home story into two parts, before COVID and after COVID, BC and AC, not the butter chicken that you think of, and neither are my initials there. But that's the story that comes through. And the idea is that I wanted to first, throw a question across to Saibal here. Saibal, you set up your organization right before COVID hit, and yours is an experiential organization. Keeping in mind the fact that right after you started, 6 feet ki duri hai zaruri came into fruition. So there are certain principles that you had to create, change, and adapt as you moved forward. Would you like to elaborate on that from your perspective and how things have evolved?
Good evening, everybody. My name is Saibal. I head Experia Group. So as Orijit, you were rightly saying that we just curated this organization and we didn't knew that what is going to hit us. And it was the 1st January 2020 we curated, and I joined Experia formally at 1st March 2020. And you know what fiasco has all of us. Bhagavan aisa din hum dharti walo ko na dikhaye. So what exactly happened is, it was lots of challenges which we have faced, personal challenges. It was a self-funded organization. There was no funding from outside. So we had some few of the key team members with us who had joined at that point of time. We had to pay salaries, we had to pay rents of offices. So that was a very tough time we passed through. So there was a personal challenges, as I'm saying, it was a professional challenges also. Professional challenge, why? Because being in this industry last 3 decades, we have been seeing outdoor as what outdoor is, that billboard. And we have seen those days when I used to work for Selwell in 1995-96, the painted hoarding used to be there. Even I am a painter, I used to paint those hoardings also, once upon a time. So then digital billboard, which used to call that digital billboard at that point of time, it's a flex, which we call. We used to call it vinyl. I think Jahan is there or not, I don't know. So Jahan must be knowing it. So we used to call that digital billboard. So we have seen that, I have seen those days also. And format used to get changed, and now we are talking about digital billboard, which is LED billboard. But for us, LED billboard is also a billboard. This is true understanding of myself, and I have convinced myself first to get out from this job and getting into a business, entrepreneurship, what you can call. That first, we do not want to see advertising. This is for sure. You will also be understanding this, that whenever any advertising comes on your mobile phone, you skip it. You do not want to see advertising. This is for sure. We know that we do not want to see. We'll have to accept it. We know what? We know want to have experiences nowadays, right? Any Gen Z or millennial, you ask them to see any advertising, they hardly see any advertising. But when it is coming to any experience creation, yes, it is happening. Now, what do you mean by experiential advertising, right? So experiential advertising, what we understand is putting promoter, 4 promoter laga diya ji, 1 stall laga diya. That's not the experiential advertising is all about. Since childhood, we came in this age, many things we remember, many things we do not remember. So why we remember many of the incidents in our life? Why? Because those incidents stimulated our 5 senses or some of the senses. Like as I was telling you that day, when you first rode your bicycle, you remember that day, I remember that day. When I have taken my child at my lap, that was the first child when I have taken my lap. So that's the day I remember in my whole life. Why? Because those incidents stimulated my experiences. That exactly we do. And we have tried to sell these ideas, curating logic and magic together with integrating different technologies together. We pitch to our clients those COVID days and even after COVID days. It was challenging because to accept those ideas and to sell those ideas was very, very challenging things. But we've gone through. Now I think we are doing pretty well. We are doing many innovations in the last few of the years. So this is what exactly is the. Now you are talking about principles. Principles, everything, whatever you are doing in the advertising and marketing world, unless until you are not doing anything where the senses get stimulated, either with the content or with any activity or with any impactful advertising, it is not going to go into the proper address to the target audiences, right? So that is my principle is.
Wonderful, wonderful. Great to hear about, how to create experiences and stories around it, and the wonderful story about the first bike ride, as one would say. Harish, I'm going to now come over to you. You set up Connect Network in Keep, and you are seeing different challenges coming in. You've also been part of a large network where you've headed it. What are the differential challenges that you see currently as part of this new setup, and how are you using your leadership style to address it?
I think. Hello. Yeah. I think the biggest thing is we need to realize the speed of change. I mean, if you look at the change which has happened in last 5 years versus what used to happen 20 years back, the speed has only increased and transformation is part and parcel of the life. So I think that is one big learning for all of us. And I believe last 20 years in the trade, whatever I have been doing, there was not much of a change because what you have done, you succeeded. So you continue to do more of it. I think as a advertising professional and as an agency, I think very, very important that you add value to the client's business. And I think two things are very, very critical. First and the foremost is, I think, people. You need a team who understands the business, who understands the trade, who understands what the future is and what the new demands of the clients are. You need to invest after the people, you need to train them, and you need to keep them ready for the upcoming challenge. I think that is, as a leader, one of the biggest challenge as head of the agency, that is my team up to the task? The second thing is obviously product, in which obviously strategies, data, technology, what value you can add in terms of creative. I think product also has to be niche and different. I think those are the two learnings for me as a head of the business. And I think those are the transformation which we at Connect have gone through in last 2.5 years, and we've been fairly successful. So I think these are the two things which I want to take out of that.
So taking back from you, product and people have been two very important aspects that have helped you grow your business. Excellent. Dipankar, this is going to be a personal plug as well. You've been my mentor, and you've been instrumental in my entry into out of home many, many years ago now, which has finally become my career. There are definitely some things that we have done right in out of home. Would you like to elaborate on those?
As you rightly said, okay, mentor and all, thanks for accepting that. But the fact of the matter is, what we did right was, I would say that you are the case study. Because when you came in, you were an outsider. Let's look at it that way. Because till then, what we were doing is we were taking people from the same ocean and taking the same fish, expecting them to deliver more. But, the point that you came in, the changes that was happening, I think it was 2008, 2009, around that time. A lot of changes which was happening in the industry. And we needed people who were from outside the industry, who would bring value, who would bring an outside perspective. And that exactly what happened. And it worked very well for us. You were with us for quite some time, and we saw that value. We saw how we changed how we approach clients, and those things happened. And that remained with me, even today, we look forward to taking people from outside the system who bring in new perspective, who bring in the outside knowledge, and then integrate it with outdoor to make it much more robust. So I think that's a good thing that we did.
Shashi, now I'll shift over to you. Taking across from the story of people, which, in a transformative capacity, is what Dipankar spoke about. I understand that you bring a plethora of learning as far as digitalization is concerned, not just in airports, but across, street furniture, etc. How do you see the progress of that in the out-of-home space from a future perspective?
So digital is the way of life. It has invaded our life, our thinking, our being, without our preparing for it, without our planning for it. Email silently crept into our life. Mobile is now in our life. We started sharing data, video, text, without knowing much. All of us, most of us who are not the digital native, we are digital illiterate, but we are so much dependent on digital. So digital is the future, no matter how much we. Only thing is, whatever is the strength of the present system, it creates its own inflexibility. So before I used to say, बच्चे बूढ़े और जवान outdoor देखें एक समान. Because once you have put the billboard, it is visible to everybody. On that Chitrakoot ground, if you put a film poster called Reshma Ki Jawani, it does not only expose the TG, the intended TG, it also exposes the Podar school bus which goes in the morning looking at that billboard, or in the afternoon when the kids are coming home, they see Reshma Ki Jawani. Now, I'm not getting into a value judgment. What I'm telling you is that there is a wastage of attention, of the media space, of the media time, of the media money. If the same billboard turns into a digital, I get so much of flexibility. I can serve advertising on day part according to the audience that I'm getting, the primacy of audience that I'm getting on that stretch or wherever else. So I know today there is a chasm in the industry. There are some pro DOOH and there are some pro static OH. It is not about that. Technology does not change the fundamental things. I keep saying that people are saying newspaper is dead, magazine is dead. I'm reading Economist on my iPad and I'm reading Economist only. The ads which you're saying have moved out of print and have gone into digital, those ads are still today meant for Economist. Economist is getting that. Economist is they call themselves newspaper. Economist is a magazine. Magazine is not dead. The format has changed. The way we access it has changed. So OH and DOH, I don't think there is a chasm. And DOH is the future, whether you like it or not.
Would you like to elaborate a bit more on airports as a touch point and how you see that evolving in the OH space?
Airports have seen early success because what happens, you have a closed ambience, you have a very defined audience psychography. You know, outdoor is demography neutral. It is psychography specific. We meet the same person, but we don't meet the same persona. So psychographically, you are a different guy when you are at airport. You are a different guy when you are in office. You are a different guy when you are at a club or a cinema hall. So when we met these people in the airport, these are the people who either are or they think because they are at the airport and they belong to that 2% universe which flies, they become opinion leader and they adopt it much faster. And in that closed ambience, with that captive audience, digital could do a lot more than if digital had to start on the street side. Because there would be a lot of ambient noise, there would be a lot of ambient illumination, brightness, which would interfere with this. Airport, we really did so well. And we could also showcase, see, where is it going to end? Ultimately, it is convergence. So tomorrow, as IoT is reality today, machine is talking to machine, audience is the same. And you know what today? The audience, we have gone beyond broadcasting, narrowcasting, single casting. We are now at point casting. And today the audience is slithering through the medium. I'm saying slither. It's a very degenerative word because reptiles slither because they don't have legs and they don't have control. Today the audience does not have control. It just slithers through medium. Watches TV, reads newspaper, goes on to read some stupid WhatsApp joke shared by his peers, moves on to watch whatever. So she does not know she is moving through so many mediums. She is slithering, right? And when you have digital, you will be able to cater to this audience which is slithering through so many things. You will be able to connect all the media, which is what she wants, and you will be in a connected world. And the world has become connected already.
Absolutely. A wonderful description on how, the cross-functionality of media kind of comes through. And this word slithering is something I've heard for the first time used in this context, but really wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for those inputs. Suresh, you have been the CEO of the company that I currently still work for, and thank you for hiring me. Now,
we all make mistakes.
Yeah, I know. So you have now an outsider's perspective on things, being part of the Hindu group. You're in an industry which itself is having to go through, let's say, a digital transformation. What do you think are the key learnings that OH can take from the digital space to help increase its overall contribution within the media pie? Right? We accept that there are challenges for out-of-home in the media pie.
Firstly, thank you, E4M, for inviting me. I don't know what I'm doing on this panel, first of all, because I was in the out-of-home business for exactly 3 years. Of course, in a very nice agency, I must say. But I was there for 3 years. Otherwise, I've been largely what we call the boring conventional media guy and in the advertising agency business. So firstly, there are some learnings, I think, interesting learnings. I am at the moment in a sunset industry in its physical form. Newspaper business in its physical form today is a sunset industry. In its digital form, it's a sunrise industry. The good part about OH is I think both what you call conventional OH and DOH are both sunrise industries, at least in this country. And I think both will grow in the future, and that's a very positive thing, because I'll tell you the biggest challenge, and you're going to have this challenge for the next, my sense is 5 years. And that challenge is going to be, how do you keep conventional OH growing, making money so it can feed DOH, right? That's the challenge of most media owners today, that you need, your still lion's share of the money comes from the roadside and what somebody referred to as flex or vinyl or whatever. Your lion's share of the money comes from there. But DOH, you know, is the growing medium and you have to keep feeding it. So that's going to be the challenge, exactly what we are going through. Newspaper business is shrinking. The physical newspaper are... The only thing is you don't have to fight Google and Facebook like the way we have to, right, in that sense. Because 80% of the money in digital is taken away by Google and Facebook, and all the publishers put together are fighting for the remaining 20%. That battle, at least you don't have right now, which is a good thing for you. There are no two giants sitting on your head. So I think there is, one is the balancing act. How do you keep this going and DOH growing? That is going to be and what does that create? I was just talking to Haresh. I said, meeting him after almost 2 years, I said, Connect Network, how are you doing? He said, oh, we're doing well. He said, I have X number of people in my OH, and he said, I have 12 people in digital. Now, the fact is, I haven't asked him, but I'm willing to bet that his people in his normal OH business, the average age must be around 30, 35, and his digital must be around 20, 25. That's another challenge that we are going through. How do you balance this? Because everything is a question of balance. We have these veterans handling our physical newspaper, like you have veterans handling the business, and then you have these young kids who want to work from home, right? There's a kid who spoke to me last month and he said, sir, I want to have a word with you. I said, yeah, please come. He said, sir, it's been 6 months in the company and I haven't got a promotion. So I said, yeah. So he said, yeah, where's my career going? I said, hello, you've joined 6 months now. He said, yeah, but that's 6 months. You know, that's the perspective. So we are actually, and I think that's going to be, if you're not already handling it, you're going to be handling it very soon, this balance of conventional media, and because the animals required to handle it are slightly different, let's face it. I am no expert on programmatic. I am no expert on digital, right? But my daughter is. So in a similar way, you have the younger guys are the experts on digital. You will have these younger guys in your organization. How do you do the balancing act? That's going to be challenge number 2 as far as the digital business is concerned. And these are critical challenges there, you know, as you go. And of course, the third is the is the funding of, digital media. How you're going to keep it funded while it grows. Because there is an initial investment in digital. Same thing here. Initial investment in digital is very high. But then obviously profitability once it goes up is also extremely high. 5 years down the line, it'll be much more profitable than your conventional business. So how do you, go over, you're in a wonderful situation of going over the bridge right now. Just suck it in, I would say, for 5 years. Suck it in and work through it. This industry will grow super fast.
Very nicely put. 5 years is what the time that we require to kind of transform ourselves. Glad we're all here. We'll catch up. Okay, so taking off from this point, in fact, Suresh, I'm going to come back to you. Leadership styles play a very key role in how companies are managed, how they're perceived, and how they project themselves. I remember personally an OH company which used to take all of its awards and literally download them onto the client's table during a pitch. Though a very gutsy move, but it not just brought them notoriety, but also brought them a lot of business. Suresh, from your perspective, in today's OH environment, once again, an outsider's perspective, what are the leadership skills that you feel are essential to kind of drive an agency's success?
I believe, again, growing industry, so therefore 2-3 things. Whether you're an agency or a media owner, you should be a risk taker as a leader. And the good part is, at least in the 3 years that I was there, I have not seen a bigger industry taking risks than out-of-home. I think out-of-home leaders by natural are risk takers, right? I think that is something that comes from within them. Now Bindu's nodding his head, So, they are naturally risk takers, and you have to be. To succeed in this business, you have to be risk takers, because you got so many things going against you. Oh, you don't have data. Oh, you're not measurable. Oh, this, that, and the other. And you are 3%. Somebody said 10%, whatever. The point is there's somebody trying to put you down. You are always, as a leader, you need to be a risk taker. Secondly, you need to be extremely agile in this business, especially now with this whole DOH and conventional media. I mean, today, if you see the sessions, it's all been about DOH and conventional media, etc. I think you got to be very agile because it's changing very fast. I mean, take an example now. We are struggling. We were preparing for the cookie-less world, and we are saying, we have first-party data and all. Now Google has aram se announced that they will take time now in phasing out the cookie. So cookie is going to be there for another 6 months. Last 6 months we've been preparing, saying March mein ho jayega, cookie nikal jayega. And now they are saying December tak abhi cookie niklega ki nahi, we don't know. But the point is that we were preparing for first-party data. The changes in the digital happens every day. What is technology today is outdated tomorrow. Right? So you have to be extremely agile as a leader to spot those trends. And third is adaptability. Like I said, you have to be able to adapt to the youngster in your organization and to the veteran in your organization. You've got to be able to handle them both. So I would think you have to be risk taker, you have to be agile, and you have to be very good at adapting as a leader. If you have that, especially in this industry, in the out-of-home industry, those are the hajar other things a leader needs. But if I were to put 3 top things, these are the things you need to succeed here, I would think so.
Excellent. Very valid points there, and I like the point about taking risks, and I think we as an industry are taking risks, but the question is, are we taking enough number of risks? So that's the other question. So Sashi, I'd like to shift over to you as the Chief Business Officer of Lakshya Media Group. What is your perspective as an insider in terms of the leadership qualities and leadership skills that will drive OH into the future?
So I don't know. Fundamentals are true everywhere, all over the world, across the industry. A leader does only 2 things, and there is no third thing he does. Decision making and forward planning. When you come to a fork, as a leader you have to decide to go left or to go right. Because a leader always moves into the arena of unknown. Everyone else who is a follower follows the leader, and therefore he has some knowledge. So you have to be able to take a decision. And then, what is living? Living is about making the future. If I have no future tomorrow, I stop living today. So a leader has to continuously do forward planning. So in our OOH also, as leaders, you have to continuously make decisions, take decisions, and you have to plan for the future. How that future is emerging, how you are going to adapt yourself, how you're going to encash that future, how you're preparing your organization, your people, your tool technologies, etc. That is what your job as a leader is. And
Very valid, and I see a lot of similarity between the answers given by both you as well as
he has been
the
my
session
boss
here.
for some time.
Taken, point taken. So, taking upon, talking about, you spoke about people here initially, the two P's that were very essential. I believe that it's very critical to attract fresh talent. I think, Dipankar, you also spoke briefly about it. In this currently changing environment, are we attracting the right sort of people? And this is to you, Harish. Are we attracting the right sort of talent to our organization? If yes, then that's great. If no, then how can we improve it?
I think I'll add to what Suresh spoke, because everyone wants a career in digital.
Yeah.
So obviously there is a challenge in the out-of-home space. Obviously digital out-of-home will change, but then again, you are fighting a challenge. When I was part of a bigger network, the digital agencies would eat into the out-of-home share, and out-of-home would fight कि अरे यार ये तो digital billboard है, and they would say अरे तो digital hai. So obviously there are multifaceted challenge, and as leaders, I think one of the biggest thing is, to invest. As both of them said, that you need to be agile and you need to invest ahead of the curve and take the risk. And I think one of the most important thing is more than hiring, it is also about training, nurturing, and building for the future of not only the organization but also about the industry. Because one thing I feel, and I think in the last panel discussion, what Alok spoke, and I think me and Dipankar also spoke for a bit, that pitch Madison needs to correct the out-of-home figures. Very, very critical, that the industry size itself is a challenging bit. But coming back to the talent part, if the future is bright, if there are opportunities which are there, which I feel, as Suresh said, that still it's a sunrise industry and there is a lot of opportunity for professionals to actually come. Lot of experiments. I mean, what we are now doing is we are hiring, management trainees from institutes. So I think that there are a couple of ways everyone is trying. And Dipankar also gave your example that you are not from the trade, but I think that is also critical. The best thing about out-of-home is that people are very, very hardworking, very, very passionate. At least I can talk about the industry because I have also for 2-3 years managed other mediums. And I have gone through the challenge of, अरे यार 6 महीना हो गया promotion क्यों नहीं हुआ? So gone through that, but at least there is a lot of patience and there is a lot of resilience. And we need to find out and back the right kind of talents.
Absolutely. Couldn't have put it better. Dipankar, if I were to straitjacket you here, and I were to ask you, what are the top 3 actions that you would like to take in the near future in terms of attracting the right sort of talent, what would that be? What would those 3 points be?
See, the first and foremost is, it is about selling a dream. Yeah, outdoor is a career. It is just not a medium. It's just not a. It's just not a part of an agency. It is a career, right? So you need to first show the career path, okay, and that you can do to a newcomer. Like you said, that he would be going to various institutes. And so selling a dream there, so selling the power of outdoor is something that needs to be done. To evangelize, I mean, just to put the right word, we have to evangelize this media to the younger generation. That's first. Second, the transformation that is happening in outdoor, whether you call it DOH, whether you call it experiential, whether whatever it is happening, that needs to come to the forefront. It cannot be unidimensional. You need to show that the multidimensional aspect of outdoor to see the entire power of outdoor, how it folds. Thirdly, I think most importantly, you need to tune the people, tune your employees to be a problem solver. You're just not a media person. You're a problem solver, right? A client is coming to you because there is a problem, right? How you become a problem solver. So you feel important when you start having all these three aspects, I think this would help create a base of people who would be taking this industry forward and make it more profitable or whatever.
If I can quickly add 2-3 working points on how you can attract talent. One is increase entry-level salaries. In out-of-home, entry-level salaries are very poor. Right? Please increase entry-level salaries. Because today, if you go to even to an average institute, forget the top institute, the average institute, 4 lakhs and 5 lakhs doesn't cut it as entry-level salaries. You have to get to the, but then what do you do with guys who are 5 years experience and earning 6 lakhs in your agency, right? So those challenges are there, but one of the things you got to do is increase your entry-level salaries. Think of better working environments. It is a conundrum and it's a silly thing to say, but how can you work from home when you're out of home, right? But that is something you will have to provide to the younger generation. You'll have to provide them 2 days a week work from home or 1 day a week work from home. Some kind of flexibility you will have to provide because their value systems are very, very different from ours. So while I agree with evangelizing out of home, making it sexy, selling out of home, selling DOH, very important, I think they are also they're all people who look after themselves. Yeah? Unlike people like you who used to work 18 hours a day. I'm not saying that was good and what the newer generation is doing is not, I'm not judging, but they want a life of their own, right? They don't think working in office for 18 hours a day is very exciting, however good the job. So provide different working environments, increase entry-level salaries, right? And give them the opportunity to grow, right? I think, and in terms of mobility and stuff like that, these guys get bored very fast. So if he's handling strategy for some time, let him have buying for some time, move his jobs. These are 2-3 things you need to do if you want to excite youngsters to stay in your organization.
A perfect jugalbandi there of, the broad idea, talking about imagination and the actual implementation possibilities. Thank you, both of you. I mean, really, very nicely put. Shoaib, you have a completely different challenge as far as, people are concerned. I understand that in your organization, you have people who can, man a tea stall, an outdoor unit to a person who does coding as well. That's a very, very diverse, range of people in an organization. How do you manage that and how do you bring synergies, at scale?
See, actually what, as Suresh was talking about taking risks, so we have taken lots of risk to set our vision of our organization. Now, what is our organization vision? Vision is out of home. What we see out of home is only billboard and digital billboard. And in the name of digital billboard, digital advertising, digital out of home advertising, what we say it's the digital out of home. Digital billboard, we say digital out of home. But our spectrum is little bigger. So here we are talking about different projection-led advertising, which we call digital advertising, digital out of home. Then laser projection, projection mapping. So if I'll have to hire a talent from the industry, you will not be getting a mapping guy. You will not be getting a coding guy. You will not be getting a programming guy. So we have set our vision in that way. We know exactly what kind of people we need. So we have searched that kind of people from the outside and inside of the industry, from the out-of-home industry, and we have sourced them in. And similarly, we know that who will be our people who will be having that kind of knowledge to sell these products to the client. So that's exactly what we are doing, right? So we are educating people, we are hiring people, and we are making people as per as our concern. Absolutely. That can be creative team, which we have pencil box. So there, what kind of AI and CGI or any kind of content development people which we have, they are from the industry, and still we have kept our door open for the people who want to join us and to learn more. So that's basically what we are doing.
So one refrain that I keep seeing coming back further and further is that we have to look beyond the confines of out-of-home if we are to look at the proper sort of talent that we're looking at. Now let's kind of change gears and tackle a bit more, thorny issues. So the reality is that, clients are demanding a lot more. But ultimately, let's face it, the plan, who gets the business, the plan boils down to money. Clients are nowadays putting their plans on bidding platforms and, may the best man win, as the case may be. Harish, in this situation, and this is considering, your new setup, etc., what is the role of strategy that you see here? And, the fact that everything is now so dynamic and it's based on, coming down to purely cost, how do you tackle that and create greater value for clients in this space?
I think, see, we need to understand our position. And I think if you are an agency or a consultancy to a client, your role is to add value to the client's business. And hence, I feel that strategy, data, and a lot of people might have different opinion about data, but then still there is a lot to be offered to the client and add value to the client, maybe in terms of creative or whatever value. I think agency has a sort of a role to play in that part of the business. But yes, if you look in last 2 years post-COVID, things have drastically changed. There are so many agencies who have come on board. To an industry, it is good because there are many people who are going to sell a single inventory. But on the other side, it is also killing the industry because then with reverse auctioning and fighting internally, you're killing the size, you're killing the value, and you are killing the agencies also on one side. I think the solution to that particular issue is also about empowering the clients, and obviously, as Alok said in the last session, that it's become a procurement driven sort of a buying. कि यार ठीक है 10 का माल 4 में दे दे, strategy को बाजू में रख दे. So that is what is happening, but it is up to the agencies to also consult and educate our clients the value of intelligence, the value of the trade. I mean, being in this industry for last 20 years, I mean, me and Dipankar were talking about an example of sites. There are 5 sites in a row. I mean, we all know that these sites are on a same location, but we know the difference in terms of visibility, in terms of angle, in terms of impact. And that is where I think we as specialists need to also empower the marketing team more, put our efforts in terms of educating the marketing team in terms of the value of informed decision. Because आप negotiation करके 10% बचा लोगे, but from strategic thinking and from data, I think you can do up to 20-30% saving if you are taking an informed decision. So I think these are very critical points in the current situations.
So what you're effectively saying is that we need to make it more multidimensional in terms of optimization rather than have a unilateral optimization based only on cost. Fair point. To add to this, Dipankar, if you were to take 3 distinct groups, let's say you have your buying, you have your strategy, and let's say add creative to the mix, what would you talk around, tech-led innovations, and how are they actually adding value to clients at an overall scale?
See, all the 3 things that you said are all 3 different, in 3 different spaces altogether, right? They're all like chalk and cheese, yeah? I mean, they don't mix, but all are equally important. Tech-like innovation, it's like tickling, I mean, you can tickle, you can laugh, but if you tickle more, it becomes boring. But if you look at creative, look at strategy, why is it important to me to have a strategic department or a strategic planning team? It is because you're not like a Nahum's cake or a Kayani's cake that I'll put it up by 9 o'clock, it would be sold. There is a problem with which the client is coming to me, right? A client is coming to me with it could be as basic as that distribution challenges, or it could be as complex as whatever we can think of. So what is the solution that we bring to the table? And that is where the strategic team comes into play, right? What are the insights that you bring in? We talk about data, we keep on talking about data, we talk about DOH, that is immaterial. To me, that is immaterial. To me, it is that have you understood the problem? How embedded are you into the system to understand the client and understand the problem, and you come up with a solution? That is the thing. You may have a data, you may not have a data, you come up with a solution, right? That is one. Second, the creative plays, outdoor is a creative media at the end of the day. Right? It's the biggest canvas that one can give to the creative. So it's a creative medium. It's all about imagery. Whether the format is small, big, experiential, whatever it is, it's all about imagery, right? What is the impact that is leaving onto you? And end of the day, it is what we say as creative, what we say as innovation, what is the final outcome of that? I mean, just gone are the days of just shaking hands, shaking legs. Those days are gone. Whatever I'm innovating, it costs money. It may be 1 lakh, it may be 1 crore. Whatever that I'm doing, how is it impacting my product? How is it solving my problem? If these three things are getting addressed, then all the three divisions are working. And buying, of course, as everybody is saying that buying is procurement-led, it will be. It's a fact of life. It is going to be procurement-led. It is up to you as an agency. We can keep on saying that they are bringing the value of this commoditizing this industry. But it's our job to go back and to teach the procurement as to the value that you are adding to the marketing team, because often the marketing and the procurement are they don't look eye to eye, and that's where the problem is. So once you bridge that gap, then you will see there's a lot more synergy. I'm not saying that they would stop bringing your price down, but you will see a lot more synergy happening, and hence the value of your proposition goes up. So,
one way of, I don't know if it will work, but one way of getting out of this commoditization is what the IA has done. I don't know if it's still working, but I'm sure you all heard. The same thing happens in television, the same thing happens in print. All pitches are decided on the Excel sheet. So the IA has got together, all the large media agencies have got together, and they have decided that they are not going to give channel-wise, time band-wise costs on their Excel sheet. All of them have got together and said, we will not give publication-wise costs. We will give a plan, we'll give a newspaper plan cost, we will give a television plan cost, but we will not give a channel-wise, time band-wise cost. Now, is it being implemented? I don't know. I think all senior agencies, all the leaders were there. I think more or less it's getting implemented. But the agencies got together and they took a decision that they will not give Excel sheets. So will that, can the large out-of-home agencies get together and say, whenever we are called for a pitch, we will not give site-wise details. We'll give maybe city-wise plan. We will give you city-wise plan cost. We will not give you. That's one way of handling it, to take it away from, so there is a learning there maybe.
no, but see, the issue in outdoor is the procurement or the client is open to go to the media owner, and that's where the trick lies. The media owner goes and lowers the pant, then you had it. So that's where the challenge is. I mean, as agencies we can come together, but the media owners have to join hands to make this happen. Otherwise, everything falls flat.
Lot of points to ponder here. Just want to do a quick time check. What sort of time do we have in hand? 6.5 minutes. Sorry, I didn't see that. I was facing the wrong direction. 6.5 minutes is good. So what I would like to do is, Shoaib, last time, you introduced me to a very nice word. I mean, it was new for me. I don't know for the rest of the audience, called solo-mo. So it's basically the intersection of social media, location, and mobility. How do you see these three, so-called pointers coming together in the next few years for OOH?
So what always we carry in our hand, since we are waking up till we go off for the day, is this device. This device, mobile phone, is always with us. And what we are doing at this, many of the time we are with the applications, and these are all social applications. Am I audible now? Audible. So the social applications, right? Either Facebook, Instagram, or any other the applications which we are. So experiential advertising doesn't happen unless until you put that into a social network. Then only your experience you can share with other people. And that's how the experiential advertising happens. So whatever medium we are talking about, if we do it solo-mo is you are putting it up in the social media. That is social media. You can connect with the social media, that medium. You have that medium as a local awareness. What the local awareness is where the geolocations you are sitting or interacting, and through that medium is interacting with, and mobility. So these three things, when put together with a medium, that medium gets live automatically. So that kind of medium already we have created. We have created in DLF Cyber City. If you'll go all the leaf lobbies are with us, with all interactive projection systems. Those are enabled with Solo-Mo, right? And we are scaling it up with other corporate parks. Similarly, we are doing n number of campaigns inside PVR theaters and other touch points where through mobile phone, when you are scanning any QR code or anything, that becomes your interactive. So similarly, different things can be done with the Solo-Mo, integrating AI, integrating machine learning, integrating many other things. So that's basically Solo-Mo medium is all about, that we are developing.
Beautiful, beautiful. A very new way to look at the intersection of these three points together. Now, Suresh, back to you. So you mentioned across to me, and I think it's pretty common as well, that data is the new oil, right? And this is something that we've all, I think we've all kind of touched upon. The fact is that today companies sit on tons of data, but the question becomes that how does one bring insights from those data, right? The funny part is, and this is what I gathered from my interaction with you, is that in the industry that you're in, which is the newspaper industry, hasn't had a proper research. IRS was last there in 2018, right? So that means 6 years without data, and I believe going well. So does that mean that there is a twist in the tail of data?
Yeah, so yeah, it's a fact. We haven't had data in the newspaper industry for 6 years. And the newspaper industry must have read is not doing badly. I'm not saying we're doing very well, but we're not doing badly, at least for the last 3 or 4 years. So I have a different take on data for the out-of-home industry, actually. See, once DOH is already coming in, some amount of organic data you already are getting now, thanks to DOH. Limited maybe to airports, residences, malls, wherever you have DOH available. We recently, as the Hindu group, did one campaign in Bangalore with Add-on Mo, and we were able to find out how many people we managed to reach and all that because of the screen. So you're getting some data there. Should the industry get together and spend money and do one data, which has always been the question which out of home, I will say don't sweat the small stuff, right? This industry will grow. It's growing because of technology, because of all that. It will continue to grow. So I would recommend that, because I'm experiencing it in the newspaper business. Clients have found their own way of measuring us, right? When the ad comes on that day, do the footfalls go up in their dealerships? That's how they're making, how do you think they're making decisions? Double the size of the out-of-home industry at least, right? I mean, today we're at 20,000 crore industry, the newspaper industry in this country. Clients are spending 20,000 crores without data for the last 6 years. There should be some science to that. The science to that is they have their own ways of measuring. They find out if there is footfalls, does the phone ring, does brand scores go up, brand equity goes up. Then they measure this most of the time. So they have their own ways of finding out whether this medium is working, X newspaper is working better than Y newspaper. And it's working well for us as well. So, and this lack of data has not put pressure on our rates as well. The normal negotiations with agencies goes on. And of course, there's an overall pressure on yields because the newspaper business is going down. But otherwise, there's no pressure because there's no data. So, I'm therefore giving you a different spin that you are anyway getting some data from the digital business that you have. Grow that data, use it. And the most important thing is, even if you get the data, how do you use it? You're talking about tons of data. The thing about data is that it's very sexy to have, but how do you use the data? And most of us don't use it. I can tell you that, right? You sit on the data and it's usually during a pitch presentation that we show the data, but we don't actually use it in our actual day-to-day planning. So there is a conundrum there as well. So data now is Hathi ke Dant, as far as I'm concerned. So you should have something to show, but I don't think you should sweat the small stuff. This industry, nobody can stop it from growing, your out-of-home industry. I think it'll continue to grow and the best man will win.
Long live data. Okay, so Harish, I think I want to flip this over across to you because I'm aware that yes, you have been a practitioner of data and you're aware of its transformative capabilities in the OH space. What do you believe can be best leveraged for, I mean, what data can be best leveraged for OH and, place, location-based data? Would you like to elaborate on that story?
I think two things. One is what Suresh said, ki Hindu does not have any data, and obviously the newspaper industry does not have any data. but Hindu group has in terms of, what is the circulation data and everything. Abhi, when we go to digital, Facebook would give their own data and we would all say, yes, Facebook numbers are right. Google numbers are right. If Junaid says कि मैं रोशन हूँ और मेरे होर्डिंग के पास से so much traffic is going, authenticity is questionable. No one is going to question. So I think relevance of data and non-relevance of data, I mean data is there, but who is going to trust that data? Now when we talk of data, yes, you need to compete and you need to ensure that you are securing your pie of share. That's where I think data is required for all of us, because at the end of the day, I think we are also competing with other mediums like digital or connected TV or television or whatever medium it is there. And I think there is a lot of second party independent data which all of us as professionals know, which can be used. And most of us, I was talking to Junaid during the lunch, he said he has geofencing and he has data for traditional media also. And I think a lot of people in the trade are also evolving and understanding the new ways of dealing with the medium. There is a Google API which is available. Now Google API is nothing but point of interest. People who go to coffee shop or mall or corporate parks, that data is easily available through Google APIs. Why don't you use that data and create a heat map and figure out where in a city the audience goes and try and reach there? So there are a lot of data which is available, and second party data right from census, GIS, TGI. You can sink in a lot of data points which are there, but as you rightly said, हाथी के दांत है, but वो दांत जरूरी है, नहीं तो हाथी से कोई डरेगा नहीं.
So true. So as we start winding down, Sashi, over to you. From an airport perspective, what are the three leadership outlook points that you'd like to highlight? Three leadership outlook points that you'd like to highlight.
I didn't get your question.
From an airport's perspective, what are the three leadership outlook points that you'd like to highlight for airports?
Leadership outlook.
How would you look at airports evolving, let's say, in the near future? Sorry.
Oh. So, I see it as a unified part of out of home. Only thing is, because it is airport, it has some basic inherent advantages. So you know the gross reach, which is in the public domain. So how many people cross through my airports is there on AI website, and anyone can check it. Now, net OTS anyway, you will not be able to calculate. And then, if I understand that my airport is a granular space and I'm getting people who are in different psychographic stages on arrival tract or on departure tract, or I even know that on arrival also there are two kinds of psychographies which are coming. Some people are returnees who had gone out and are coming back, and some people are visitors. If I understand all these in so much detail, I exactly know what kind of messaging and what kind of impact I can be able to create.
Fair. Shoaibul, what's keeping you awake? 3 points.
3 points, basically to increase out-of-home share or what?
Yeah. From a leadership perspective.
Leadership. See, large format LED sites has to come up, and this is going to come up. Yeah. Corporations will be giving permissions. This is my gut feel, and it is going to happen. Because across the globe, when it is happening, here also it is going to happen. Small billboards will go. It will be there in the tier 2, tier 3 towns, right? Impact sites will be more in the metros, right? So this is going to happen. And more experiential and tech-led things will going to be taken in the market, right? AI, CGI, and machine learning, robotics will take off. So that is my basically point of view.
Very valid. Harish, would you like to add 3 of your points to this mix?
I think 3 very important point is, I think, survival of the fittest. I would take that, because as an industry practitioner and as a professional in this particular space, I think competition is ever increasing and challenges are going to be there. And I think as a leader, we need to gear ourselves and also our team to ensure that we are ready for the future. I think that would be the first point. Second point is, being ambitious and being open to newer transformation. I think we all need to understand that if a client is taking a decision, informed decision using a data or some creative, then we should be up there to ensure that we are adding value to the client's business. And as leaders, I think we need to ensure that we are up to the challenge and we are there to add value to the client's business. Whatever is helping the client to take an informed decision and a better decision, I think that is the second point. And I think the third point, as a leader, I think it is very important for us to also support the industry and look at our trade bodies or our partners, or Suresh gave an example that why can't we all come together and ensure that we look at a certain way of dealing with this price sensitive market. Is there anything which we can as teams collaborate and ensure for the betterment of the industry? I think these are the three things we should look at.
I'm informed that there's a lack of time. If that's okay, so extremely sorry, Suresh and Dipankar. But yeah, wonderful. I mean, it was truly a pleasure, interacting with you, and a lot of great points, I believe, that we can take back.